Welcome back to the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner CLF-C02 500 Questions series. This is part 5. If you missed the previous parts of this 500 questions series, make sure to complete them first. Links are in the description. Let's continue with the next set of practice questions. Question 401. A company wants to monitor configuration changes and aggregate compliance findings across AWS accounts. Choose 2. A. Amazon Route 53, B. AWS Config, C. AWS Security Hub CSPM, D. AWS Storage Gateway. Correct answers B and C. Why correct? AWS Config continuously records resource configuration changes and evaluates compliance against defined rules. Security Hub CSPM aggregates security posture findings and provides centralized compliance visibility across accounts. Why A is wrong? Route 53 provides DNS routing and health checks rather than compliance monitoring capabilities. Why D is wrong? Storage Gateway connects on-premises storage to AWS but does not analyze compliance posture. Question 402. A company wants to filter malicious web requests and protect applications from Layer 7 attacks. Which AWS service should be used? A. AWS Shield, B. AWS Transit Gateway, C. AWS WAF, D. AWS Backup. Correct answer C. AWS WAF. Why correct? AWS WAF inspects HTTP and HTTPS traffic and blocks malicious application layer requests effectively. Why A is wrong? Shield focuses mainly on DDoS protection rather than detailed application layer request filtering. Why B is wrong? Transit Gateway connects networks and does not inspect application traffic. Why D is wrong? Backup provides recovery capabilities and not live application protection. Question 403. A company wants to provide centralized identity management and single sign-on for workforce users. Choose 2. A. Amazon Cognito, B. AWS IAM Identity Center, C. AWS Directory Service, D. AWS Artifact. Correct answers B and C. Why correct? IAM Identity Center provides centralized workforce authentication and single sign-on across AWS accounts. Directory Service integrates existing Microsoft Active Directory environments with AWS resources securely. Why A is wrong? Cognito focuses on customer-facing application authentication rather than workforce identity management. Why D is wrong? Artifact provides compliance documentation and audit reports rather than authentication services. Question 404. A company wants to securely store cryptographic keys using dedicated hardware security modules. Which AWS service should be used? A. AWS Secrets Manager, B. AWS IAM, C. AWS Cloud HSM, D. Amazon EFS. Correct answer C. AWS Cloud HSM. Why correct? Cloud HSM provides dedicated hardware modules that customers fully control for cryptographic operations securely. Why A is wrong? Secrets Manager stores secrets securely but does not provide dedicated HSM infrastructure. Why B is wrong? IAM manages identities and permissions rather than cryptographic key hardware. Why D is wrong? EFS provides scalable shared file storage and not encryption key management. Question 405. A company wants to securely connect multiple VPCs and branch offices using centralized routing architecture. Choose 2. A. AWS Transit Gateway, B. Site-to-Site VPN, C. AWS Verified Access, D. Amazon Route 53. Correct answers A and B. Why correct? Transit Gateway simplifies large-scale routing between VPCs and hybrid environments centrally. Site-to-Site VPN securely connects branch offices and on-premises environments to AWS. Why C is wrong? Verified Access provides identity-aware application access instead of network routing functionality. Why D is wrong? Route 53 provides DNS services rather than hybrid network connectivity. Question 406. A company wants to store files for Linux workloads using scalable shared NFS storage. Which AWS service should be used? A. Amazon EBS, B. Amazon S3, C. Amazon Elastic File System, EFS, D. Amazon FSx for Windows File Server. Correct answer, C. Amazon Elastic File System, EFS. Why correct? EFS provides scalable shared NFS file storage designed specifically for Linux-based workloads and applications. Why A is wrong? EBS provides block storage attached to EC2 instances rather than shared NFS storage. Why B is wrong? S3 is object storage and does not behave like a mounted shared file system. Why D is wrong? FSx Windows uses SMB protocol and is optimized for Windows environments only. Question 407. A company wants privately expose applications across VPCs without traversing the public internet. Choose. A. AWS Private Link, B. Amazon VPC Lattice, C. Internet Gateway, or D. AWS WAF. Correct answers are A and B. Why correct? Private Link enables private service connectivity through secure private endpoints inside AWS infrastructure. VPC Lattice simplifies service-to-service communication with built-in access control and networking capabilities. Why C is wrong? Internet Gateway exposes traffic publicly and violates the private connectivity requirement completely. Why D is wrong? WAF protects applications from malicious traffic rather than enabling private networking communication. Question 408. A company wants centralized automated backup management across multiple AWS services and accounts. Which AWS service should be used? A. Amazon S3 Glacier, B. AWS Backup, C. AWS Storage Gateway, or D. Amazon Route 53. Correct answer is B. AWS Backup. Why correct? AWS Backup centralizes backup scheduling, policy management, monitoring, and retention across AWS services. Why A is wrong? Glacier stores archived backups but does not centrally orchestrate backup policies or automation. Why C is wrong? Storage Gateway extends storage connectivity rather than managing backup operations centrally. Why D is wrong? Route 53 handles DNS routing and health checks instead of backup management. Question 409. A company wants to manage and rotate application secrets while also encrypting them securely. Choose. Amazon S3, AWS Secrets Manager, AWS Key Management Service, KMS, AWS Artifact. Correct answers are B and C. Why correct? Secrets Manager securely stores and rotates credentials like API keys and database passwords automatically. KMS manages encryption keys used to protect stored secrets and sensitive application information. Why A is wrong? S3 stores objects but does not provide automated secret rotation or secure credential management. Why D is wrong? Artifact provides compliance reports and agreements instead of encryption or secret management capabilities. Question 410. A company wants a managed Windows-compatible shared file system supporting SMB access and Active Directory integration. Which AWS service should be used? Amazon Elastic File System, EFS, Amazon FSx for Lustre, Amazon EBS, Amazon FSx for Windows File Server. Correct answer is D. Amazon FSx for Windows File Server. Why correct? FSx for Windows File Server supports SMB protocol and integrates natively with Microsoft Active Directory. Why A is wrong? EFS uses NFS protocol and is optimized primarily for Linux-based shared file workloads. Why B is wrong? FSx for Lustre targets high-performance analytics and machine learning workloads instead of SMB shares. Why C is wrong? EBS provides block storage rather than a managed shared Windows file system. Question 411. A company wants to centrally manage web application firewall rules and DDoS protections across multiple AWS accounts. Choose. A. AWS Firewall Manager, B. AWS WAF, C. AWS organizations, D. Amazon Route 53. Correct answers are A and C. Firewall Manager enables centralized security policy administration across multiple AWS accounts and resources efficiently. Organizations provides the account structure necessary for centralized governance and cross-account policy deployment. Why B is wrong? WAF protects individual applications but does not centrally manage policies organization-wide by itself. Why D is wrong? Amazon Route 53 handles DNS routing and health checks rather than firewall policy administration. Question 412. A company wants to protect applications against distributed denial of service attacks automatically. Which AWS service should be used? A. AWS WAF, B. AWS Shield, C. AWS Network Firewall, D. AWS Backup. Correct answer is B. AWS Shield. Why correct? AWS Shield automatically provides protection against common DDoS attacks at network and transport layers. Why A is wrong? WAF protects against application layer attacks like SQL injection instead of volumetric DDoS attacks. Why C is wrong? Network Firewall filters VPC traffic but does not specialize in DDoS mitigation capabilities. Why D is wrong? Backup provides recovery services and does not protect against active network attacks. Question 413. A company wants to securely connect branch offices to AWS, while also centralizing routing between multiple VPCs. Choose two. A. Site-to-site VPN, B. AWS Transit Gateway, C. AWS Verified Access, D. AWS Firewall Manager. Correct answers, A and B. Why correct? Site-to-site VPN securely connects branch offices and on-premises environments using encrypted tunnels. Transit Gateway simplifies centralized routing across multiple VPCs and hybrid environments efficiently. Why C is wrong? Verified Access manages secure application access rather than hybrid network connectivity. Why D is wrong? Firewall Manager manages security policies and not routing infrastructure or VPN connectivity. Question 414. A company wants to securely store database passwords and automatically rotate them regularly. Which AWS service should be used? A. AWS Key Management Service, B. AWS IAM, C. AWS Artifact, D. AWS Secrets Manager. Correct answer, D. AWS Secrets Manager. Why correct? Secrets Manager securely stores credentials and automatically rotates them without manual operational overhead. Why A is wrong? KMS manages encryption keys rather than full secret lifecycle management and automated credential rotation. Why B is wrong? IAM controls access permissions and identities instead of securely storing sensitive credentials. Why C is wrong? Artifact provides compliance reports and agreements rather than secret storage functionality. Question 415. A company wants to securely expose internal applications across multiple VPCs using service-to-service networking. Choose two. A. Amazon VPC Lattice, B. AWS Private Link, C. Internet Gateway, D. Amazon Route 53. Correct answers A and B. Why correct? VPC Lattice simplifies service-to-service networking and access management across applications and VPCs. Private Link enables secure private connectivity between services without exposing traffic publicly. Why C is wrong? Internet Gateway provides public internet connectivity rather than secure private service networking. Why D is wrong? Route 53 handles DNS routing and does not provide private application connectivity mechanisms. Question 416. A company wants to provide scalable object storage with lifecycle policies for archival and cost optimization. Which AWS service should be used? A. Amazon EBS, B. Amazon EFS, C. Amazon S3, D. AWS Storage Gateway. Correct answer, C. Amazon S3. Why correct? S3 provides scalable object storage and supports lifecycle policies for automated storage class transitions. Why A is wrong? EBS provides block storage attached directly to EC2 instances instead of scalable object storage. Why B is wrong? EFS is shared file storage and not designed for object lifecycle management policies. Why D is wrong? Storage Gateway extends on-premises storage instead of serving as primary object storage infrastructure. Question 417. A company wants to centrally monitor security findings and compliance posture across AWS accounts. Choose 2. A. AWS Config. B. AWS Security Hub CSPM. C. Amazon Cognito. D. AWS Directory Service. Correct answers are A and B. Why correct? Config continuously evaluates AWS resource configurations and compliance against defined organizational rules. Security Hub aggregates security findings and provides centralized posture visibility across multiple accounts. Why C is wrong? Cognito manages user authentication and authorization rather than compliance monitoring or posture management. Why D is wrong? Directory Service integrates Active Directory capabilities but does not monitor security findings or compliance. Question 418. A company wants to provide a fully managed Windows file system with SMB support and Active Directory integration. Which AWS service should be used? A. Amazon EFS. B. Amazon FSx for Lustre. C. Amazon EBS. D. Amazon FSx for Windows File Server. Correct answer is D. Amazon FSx for Windows File Server. Why correct? FSx for Windows File Server supports SMB protocol and integrates directly with Microsoft Active Directory. Why A is wrong? EFS uses NFS protocol and is optimized primarily for Linux workloads instead of Windows environments. Why B is wrong? FSx for Lustre targets high-performance analytics and machine learning workloads rather than SMB file sharing. Why C is wrong? EBS provides block storage volumes instead of managed Windows shared file systems. Question 419. A company wants to securely manage encryption keys and hardware-based cryptographic operations. Choose 2. A. AWS Cloud HSM. B. AWS KMS. C. AWS Backup. D. Amazon Route 53. Correct answers A and B. Why correct? Cloud HSM provides dedicated hardware security modules for cryptographic operations and customer-controlled keys. KMS centrally manages encryption keys and integrates with many AWS services automatically. Why C is wrong? Backup handles data protection workflows and does not manage cryptographic key operations. Why D is wrong? Route 53 provides DNS services and has no encryption key management functionality. Question 420. A company wants to continuously replicate on-premises servers into AWS for disaster recovery readiness. Which AWS service should be used? A. AWS Backup. B. AWS Storage Gateway. C. Amazon S3 Glacier. D. AWS Elastic Disaster Recovery. Correct answer D. AWS Elastic Disaster Recovery. Why correct? Elastic Disaster Recovery continuously replicates systems and enables rapid failover during infrastructure failures. Why A is wrong? Backup captures restore points but does not continuously replicate entire running systems. Why B is wrong? Storage Gateway extends storage access and does not provide server-level disaster recovery replication. Why C is wrong? Glacier stores archived data and is not designed for continuous disaster recovery replication. Question 421. A company wants to securely expose applications across VPCs while keeping traffic entirely private. Choose 2. A. AWS Private Link. B. Internet Gateway. C. Amazon VPC Lattice. D. Amazon Route 53. Correct answers A and C. Why correct? Private Link enables private connectivity between services without exposing traffic to the public internet. VPC Lattice simplifies secure service-to-service communication across multiple VPCs and applications. Why B is wrong? Internet Gateway enables public internet connectivity, which violates the private communication requirement. Why D is wrong? Route 53 handles DNS resolution and routing rather than private service networking. Question 422. A company wants to centrally automate backups across AWS services and accounts. Which AWS service should be used? A. Amazon S3 Glacier. B. AWS Storage Gateway. C. AWS Backup. D. Amazon EFS. Correct answer C. AWS Backup. Why correct? AWS Backup centralizes backup scheduling, retention policies, monitoring, and compliance across AWS services efficiently. Why A is wrong? Glacier stores archived data but does not automate centralized backup management workflows. Why B is wrong? Storage Gateway extends storage access rather than orchestrating backups across AWS resources. Why D is wrong? EFS provides shared file storage and not centralized backup administrative capabilities. Question 423. A company wants to provide workforce single sign-on and integrate existing Microsoft Active Directory identities. Choose two. A. Amazon Cognito. B. AWS IAM Identity Center. C. AWS Directory Service. D. AWS Artifact. Correct answers B and C. Why correct? IAM Identity Center provides centralized workforce authentication and access management across AWS accounts. Directory Service integrates existing Active Directory environments securely with AWS services and workloads. Why A is wrong? Cognito primarily handles customer-facing application authentication instead of workforce identity federation. Why D is wrong? Artifact provides compliance documentation and does not manage authentication or identity integration. Question 424. A company wants to protect applications against SQL injection and malicious HTTP requests. Which AWS service should be used? A. AWS Shield. B. AWS WAF. C. AWS Transit Gateway. Or D. AWS Backup. Correct answer is B. AWS WAF. Why correct? WAF filters HTTP and HTTPS traffic and blocks common Layer 7 application attacks effectively. Why A is wrong? Shield mainly protects against DDoS attacks instead of application layer request inspection. Why C is wrong? Transit Gateway handles network routing and not application security filtering. Why D is wrong? Backup provides recovery functionality rather than live application protection capabilities. Question 425. A company wants to centrally monitor resource configuration compliance and security findings. Choose two. A. Amazon Cognito. B. AWS Config. C. AWS Security Hub CSPM. D. AWS Storage Gateway. Correct answers B and C. Why correct? Config continuously tracks resource configurations and evaluates compliance against organizational requirements. Security Hub aggregates findings and provides centralized security posture visibility across AWS environments. Why A is wrong? Cognito manages authentication and authorization rather than compliance posture monitoring. Why D is wrong? Storage Gateway connects storage systems and does not monitor compliance or security findings. Question 426. A company wants to securely store secrets such as API keys and database passwords with automatic rotation. Which AWS service should be used? A. AWS IAM. B. AWS Certificate Manager. C. AWS Artifact. D. AWS Secrets Manager. Correct answer is D. AWS Secrets Manager. Why correct? Secrets Manager securely stores credentials and automatically rotates them to improve operational security significantly. Why A is wrong? IAM manages permissions and identities rather than securely storing sensitive credentials or secrets. Why B is wrong? Certificate Manager handles SSL and TLS certificates instead of application secrets like passwords or tokens. Why C is wrong? Artifact provides compliance reports and agreements rather than secure secret lifecycle management. Question 427. A company wants to connect branch offices securely to AWS while simplifying routing between multiple VPCs. Choose two. A. AWS Verified Access. B. Site-to-Site VPN. C. AWS Transit Gateway. D. Internet Gateway. Correct answers are B and C. Why correct? Site-to-site VPN securely connects branch offices to AWS through encrypted communication tunnels. Transit Gateway simplifies centralized routing between multiple VPCs and hybrid networking environments. Why A is wrong? Verified access provides identity-aware application access rather than branch office network connectivity. Why D is wrong? Internet Gateway exposes resources publicly and does not provide encrypted hybrid connectivity. Question 428. A company wants scalable object storage with lifecycle policies to automatically archive infrequently accessed data. Which AWS service should be used? A. Amazon EBS. B. Amazon FSx for Windows File Server. C. Amazon S3. D. AWS Storage Gateway. Correct answer is C. Amazon S3. Why correct? S3 supports lifecycle policies that automatically transition data into lower-cost archival storage classes efficiently. Why A is wrong? EBS provides block storage volumes rather than scalable object storage with lifecycle management. Why B is wrong? FSx Windows provides managed SMB file storage rather than object storage lifecycle management. Why D is wrong? Storage Gateway extends on-premises storage instead of serving as primary cloud object storage. Question 429. A company wants to securely manage encryption keys and dedicated hardware cryptographic operations. Choose two. A. AWS Backup. B. AWS Key Management Service, KMS. C. AWS Cloud HSM. D. Amazon Route 53. Correct answers B and C. Why correct? KMS centrally manages encryption keys and integrates seamlessly with many AWS services securely. Cloud HSM provides dedicated hardware security modules for advanced cryptographic operations and compliance requirements. Why A is wrong? Backup manages recovery operations and does not perform cryptographic key management functions. Why D is wrong? Route 53 provides DNS routing services rather than encryption or cryptographic hardware capabilities. Question 430. A company wants a fully managed, scalable shared Linux file system using the NFS protocol. Which AWS service should be used? A. Amazon S3. B. Amazon Elastic File System, EFS. C. Amazon EBS. D. Amazon FSx for Windows File Server. Correct answer is B. Amazon Elastic File System, EFS. Why correct? EFS provides scalable shared NFS storage accessible simultaneously by multiple Linux-based EC2 instances safely. Why A is wrong? S3 is object storage and does not provide POSIX-compliant shared file system capabilities. Why C is wrong? EBS provides block storage attached primarily to single EC2 instances rather than shared file access. Why D is wrong? FSx Windows supports SMB protocol and is optimized specifically for Windows workloads. Question 431. A company wants to protect web applications from malicious HTTP requests while also centrally managing security policies across accounts. Choose two. A. AWS WAF. B. AWS Firewall Manager. C. Amazon Route 53. D. AWS Storage Gateway. Correct answers A and B. Why correct? WAF filters malicious Layer 7 traffic, including SQL injection and cross-site scripting attacks effectively. Firewall Manager centrally manages WAF policies consistently across multiple AWS accounts and applications. Why C is wrong? Route 53 provides DNS routing and health checks rather than application layer security protection. Why D is wrong? Storage Gateway extends on-premises storage connectivity and does not manage security policies. Question 432. A company wants a centralized hub to connect multiple VPCs and branch office networks together. Which AWS service should be used? A. AWS Transit Gateway. B. AWS Verified Access. C. Internet Gateway. D. Amazon Route 53. Correct answer A. AWS Transit Gateway. Why correct? Transit Gateway simplifies large-scale network connectivity using centralized hub-and-spoke routing architecture efficiently. Why B is wrong? Verified access secures application access instead of connecting multiple networks together centrally. Why C is wrong. Internet Gateway provides internet access rather than centralized VPC and branch connectivity. Why D is wrong. Route 53 handles DNS routing and not network interconnection or routing infrastructure.
Question 433. A company wants to securely connect branch offices to AWS while ensuring traffic remains encrypted. Choose 2. A. AWS Private Link. B. Site-to-Site VPN. C. AWS Transit Gateway. D. AWS WAF. Correct answers B and C. Why correct? Site-to-Site VPN creates encrypted tunnels between on-premises environments and AWS networks securely. Transit Gateway simplifies centralized routing management between VPNs, VPCs, and hybrid environments. Why A is wrong? Private Link provides private service connectivity within AWS rather than branch office VPN connectivity. Why D is wrong? WAF protects applications from malicious HTTP traffic and does not establish encrypted network tunnels. Question 434. A company wants to securely store and automatically rotate application credentials and API keys. Which AWS service should be used? A. AWS IAM. B. AWS Artifact. C. AWS Certificate Manager. D. AWS Secrets Manager. Correct answer D. AWS Secrets Manager. Why correct? Secrets Manager securely stores credentials and automates rotation without requiring manual operational intervention. Why A is wrong? IAM manages permissions and identities rather than securely storing secrets and credentials. Why B is wrong? Artifact provides compliance reports instead of secret storage and automated credential rotation capabilities. Why C is wrong? Certificate Manager manages SSL/TLS certificates rather than API keys and database credentials.
Question 435. A company wants to monitor resource configurations and aggregate security posture findings centrally. Choose 2. A. AWS Config. B. Amazon Cognito. C. AWS Security Hub CSPM. Or D. AWS Storage Gateway. Correct answers are A and C. Why A and C are correct? Config continuously evaluates AWS resource configurations and compliance against organizational requirements automatically. Security Hub CSPM aggregates findings and provides centralized visibility into overall security posture and risks. Why B is wrong? Cognito manages application authentication and authorization instead of compliance monitoring or posture management. Why D is wrong? Storage Gateway extends storage connectivity and does not aggregate security or compliance findings. Question 436. A company wants scalable shared file storage accessible concurrently from multiple Linux EC2 instances. Which AWS service should be used? A. Amazon EBS. B. Amazon S3. C. Amazon Elastic File System, EFS. Or D. Amazon FSx for Windows File Server. Correct answer is C. Amazon Elastic File System, EFS. Why C is correct? EFS provides scalable shared NFS storage simultaneously accessible by multiple Linux-based EC2 instances reliably. Why A is wrong? EBS provides block storage volumes usually attached to individual EC2 instances instead of shared access. Why B is wrong? S3 is object storage and does not behave as a mounted shared Linux file system. Why D is wrong? FSx Windows supports SMB protocol and is optimized for Windows environments specifically.
Question 437. A company wants private service-to-service connectivity without exposing traffic to the public internet. Choose 2. A. AWS Private Link. B. Internet Gateway. C. Amazon VPC Lattice. D. AWS WAF. Correct answers are A and C. Why correct? Private Link enables secure private connectivity between services using private endpoints within AWS infrastructure. Amazon VPC Lattice simplifies service networking and communication across multiple applications and VPC environments. Why B is wrong?
Internet gateway exposes traffic publicly and violates the requirement for private-only connectivity. Why D is wrong. AWS WAF filters malicious web traffic and does not provide private service networking capabilities. Question 438. A company wants a fully managed SMB-compatible file system integrated with Microsoft Active Directory. Which AWS service should be used? A. Amazon EFS. B. Amazon S3. C. Amazon FSx for Windows File Server. D. Amazon EBS. Correct answer is C. Amazon FSx for Windows File Server. Why correct? FSx Windows Server supports SMB protocol and integrates natively with Active Directory environments. Why A is wrong? EFS uses NFS protocol and targets Linux workloads rather than Windows shared SMB file sharing capabilities. Why B is wrong? S3 provides object storage and not shared SMB file system capabilities for Windows applications. Why D is wrong? EBS provides block storage rather than managed shared Windows file storage services. Question 439. A company wants to securely share datasets with external organizations while maintaining privacy controls. Choose two. A. AWS Cleanrooms. B. AWS Data Exchange. C. Amazon WorkDocs. D. Amazon Pinpoint. Correct answers are A and B. Why correct? Cleanrooms enables collaborative analytics while protecting underlying sensitive data privacy between organizations. Data Exchange allows secure subscription-based sharing of third-party and enterprise datasets efficiently. Why C is wrong? WorkDocs focuses on document collaboration instead of secure analytical dataset sharing between companies. Why D is wrong? Pinpoint handles customer engagement campaigns and not secure data sharing collaboration scenarios. Question 440. A company wants to discover on-premises servers and collect migration information before moving workloads to AWS. Which AWS service should be used? A. AWS Application Migration Service. B. AWS Database Migration Service. C. AWS Mainframe Modernization Service. D. AWS Application Discovery Service. Correct answer is D. AWS Application Discovery Service. Why correct? Application Discovery Service collects infrastructure data and dependency information for migration planning and analysis. Why A is wrong? Application Migration Service migrates workloads but does not primarily discover infrastructure dependencies beforehand. Why B is wrong? Database Migration Service migrates databases specifically rather than discovering server environments comprehensively. Why C is wrong? Mainframe modernization targets legacy mainframe modernization rather than migration discovery assessment activities.
Question 441. A company wants to process massive datasets using distributed big data frameworks such as Apache Hadoop and Spark. Choose two. A. Amazon EMR. B. AWS Glue. C. Amazon Redshift Serverless. Or D. Amazon Athena. The correct answers are A and B. Amazon EMR provides managed Hadoop, Spark, and big data processing frameworks for large-scale analytics workloads. AWS Glue prepares, transforms, and catalogs datasets commonly used in large analytics and ETL workflows. Why C is wrong? Redshift Serverless is a data warehouse service rather than a distributed Hadoop or Spark processing platform. Why D is wrong? Athena performs serverless SQL queries but does not execute distributed Hadoop or Spark clusters. Question 442. A company wants to modernize legacy applications by converting them into containerized workloads automatically. Which AWS service should be used? A. AWS App to Container. B. AWS Outposts. C. VMware Cloud on AWS. Or D. Amazon WorkDocs. The correct answer is A. AWS App to Container. Why correct? App to Container helps modernize legacy applications by packaging them into containerized deployments automatically and efficiently. Why B is wrong? Outposts extends AWS infrastructure on-premises but does not containerize applications automatically. Why C is wrong? VMware Cloud on AWS runs VMware workloads without application container modernization capabilities. Why D is wrong? Workdocs provides collaboration tools rather than application modernization or container migration services.
Question 443. A company wants to stream video data securely from connected devices into AWS for processing. Choose 2. A. Amazon Kinesis video streams. B. AWS IoT Core. C. Amazon OpenSearch serverless. Or D. Amazon Chime SDK. Correct answers A and B. Why correct? Kinesis video streams securely ingests and processes real-time video streams from connected devices efficiently. IoT Core securely connects and manages IoT devices communicating with AWS Cloud infrastructure. Why C is wrong? OpenSearch serverless provides search and analytics rather than secure IoT video ingestion capabilities. Why D is wrong? Chime SDK enables communication applications and not IoT video stream ingestion workflows. Question 444. A company wants a serverless analytics warehouse without managing infrastructure or clusters. Which AWS service should be used? A. Amazon EMR. B. Amazon Redshift. C. Amazon Athena. Or D. Amazon Redshift serverless. Correct answer D. Amazon Redshift serverless. Why correct? Redshift serverless automatically provisions and scales analytics infrastructure without cluster management responsibilities. Why A is wrong? EMR requires cluster configuration and management for distributed analytics processing workloads. Why B is wrong? Traditional Redshift requires managing clusters and capacity configurations manually. Why C is wrong? Athena queries S3 data directly, but is not an analytical warehouse platform. Question 445. A company wants to create event-driven architectures and route application events between AWS services. Choose 2. A. Amazon Event Bridge. B. AWS Step Functions. C. Amazon Workmail. D. AWS Data Pipeline. Correct answers A and B. Why correct? EventBridge routes application events between AWS services and SaaS integrations using event-driven architecture patterns. Step Functions orchestrates workflows and coordinates distributed application tasks and service integrations reliably. Why C is wrong? Workmail provides managed email and calendar functionality rather than event-driven architecture capabilities. Why D is wrong? Data Pipeline orchestrates batch workflows instead of real-time event routing between services dynamically. Question 446. A company wants to build search functionality for websites and applications using a managed search engine. Which AWS service should be used? A. Amazon OpenSearch Service. B. Amazon Cloud Search. C. Amazon Athena. D. AWS Glue. Correct answer B. Amazon Cloud Search. Why correct? Cloud Search provides a managed search service optimized for application and website search capabilities easily. Why A is wrong? OpenSearch service provides advanced analytics and logging use cases beyond simple application search functionality. Why C is wrong? Athena performs SQL analytics queries rather than powering search engines or indexing applications. Why D is wrong? Glue prepares and catalogs datasets but does not provide full-text search engine functionality. Question 447. A company wants securely collect, process, and analyze IoT sensor data from industrial devices. Choose 2. A. AWS IoT Core. B. AWS IoT Analytics. C. Amazon Pinpoint. D. Amazon Chime SDK. Correct answers are A and B. Why correct? IoT Core securely connects and manages billions of IoT devices and message communication reliably. IoT Analytics processes, enriches, and analyzes large volumes of IoT-generated sensor datasets efficiently.
Why C is wrong. Pinpoint manages customer engagement campaigns rather than IoT analytics workflows. Why D is wrong. Chime SDK supports communication applications and not IoT analytics or device management capabilities. Question 448. A company wants AWS infrastructure deployed directly into its on-premises data center. Which AWS service should be used? A. AWS Wavelength. B. VMware Cloud on AWS. C. AWS App to Container. D. AWS Outposts. Correct answer is D. AWS Outposts. Why correct? Outposts extends AWS infrastructure and services directly into customer on-premises environments consistently. Why A is wrong. Wavelength provides edge computing infrastructure integrated with telecom networks rather than customer data centers. Why B is wrong. VMware Cloud on AWS hosts VMware workloads in AWS Cloud instead of customer facilities. Why C is wrong. App to Container modernizes applications and does not deploy AWS hardware infrastructure on premises.
Question 449. A company wants to create and manage workflows for data processing pipelines using Apache Airflow. Choose two. A. Amazon Managed Workflows for Apache Airflow, MWAA. B. AWS Glue. C. Amazon WorkDocs. D. AWS Step Functions. Correct answers A and D. Why correct? MWAA provides a managed Apache Airflow environment for orchestrating complex workflows and pipelines. Step Functions coordinates distributed workflows and integrates with many AWS services effectively and reliably. Why B is wrong? Glue focuses on ETL processing rather than Apache Airflow workflow orchestration specifically. Why C is wrong? WorkDocs provides collaboration and document sharing capabilities rather than workflow orchestration tools. Question 450. A company wants to migrate databases from on-premises systems into AWS with minimal downtime. Which AWS service should be used? A. AWS Application Discovery Service. B. AWS Application Migration Service. C. AWS Database Migration Service. Or D. AWS Mainframe Modernization Service. Correct answer C. AWS Database Migration Service. Why correct? Database Migration Service migrates databases securely with minimal downtime and ongoing replication capabilities. Why A is wrong? Application Discovery Service assesses environments but does not directly migrate databases into AWS. Why B is wrong? Application Migration Service migrates servers and applications rather than database-specific workloads primarily. Why D is wrong? Mainframe modernization modernizes legacy mainframe applications instead of database migration workloads.
Question 451. A company wants to ensure cloud adoption aligns with business goals, financial planning, and long-term organizational strategy. Choose two. A. Business perspective. B. Platform perspective. C. Operations perspective. D. Governance perspective. Correct answers A and D. Why correct? The business perspective ensures cloud adoption supports business outcomes, value creation, and strategic objectives effectively. The governance perspective focuses on financial management, compliance, risk management, and cloud policy oversight centrally. Why B is wrong? Platform perspective focuses on building and managing cloud infrastructure environments rather than business alignment. Why C is wrong? Operations perspective manages day-to-day cloud operations instead of strategic governance and business planning. Question 452. A company wants to improve employee cloud skills, organizational readiness, and workforce transformation during cloud adoption. Which AWS Cloud Adoption Framework perspective should be used? A. Security perspective. B. Operations perspective. C. People perspective. D. Platform perspective. Correct answer C. People perspective. Why correct? The people perspective focuses on workforce readiness, cloud skills development, organizational change, and training initiatives. Why A is wrong? Security perspective focuses on risk management and security controls rather than employee transformation programs. Why B is wrong?
Operations perspective manages operational procedures instead of workforce capability and training improvements. Why D is wrong. Platform perspective designs cloud infrastructure and environments rather than organizational readiness and staffing. Question 453. A company wants to establish operational monitoring, incident response, and service management processes in AWS. Choose 2. A. Operations perspective. B. Governance perspective. C. Security perspective. Or D. Platform perspective. Correct answers are A and D. Why correct? Operations perspective focuses on monitoring, incident management, operational excellence, and day-to-day cloud operations. Platform perspective supports deployment, infrastructure engineering, and operational tooling for cloud environments. Why B is wrong? Governance perspective emphasizes compliance, financial management, and organizational oversight rather than operations directly. Why C is wrong? Security perspective focuses on protection and compliance instead of operational workflows. Question 454. A company wants to design cloud infrastructure architectures, networking, and scalable environments. Which AWS Cloud Adoption Framework perspective should be used? A. Business perspective. B. Security perspective. C. People perspective. Or D. Platform perspective. Correct answer is D. Platform perspective. Why correct? Platform perspective focuses on cloud architecture, engineering, infrastructure deployment, and technical platform modernization initiatives. Why A is wrong? Business perspective aligns cloud initiatives with business organizational goals rather than infrastructure engineering activities. Why B is wrong? Security perspective focuses on protection and compliance instead of infrastructure architecture design responsibilities. Why C is wrong? People perspective manages organizational transformation and workforce readiness rather than cloud platform engineering. Question 455. A company wants to improve cloud risk management, compliance controls, and financial governance. Choose 2. A. Governance perspective. B. Security perspective. C. People perspective. D. Business perspective. Correct answers A and B. Why correct? Governance perspective manages compliance, cloud financial oversight, policies, and enterprise risk management processes centrally. Security perspective focuses on cybersecurity controls, protection mechanisms, and compliance and securing cloud environments comprehensively. Why C is wrong? People perspective improves workforce capabilities rather than governance or compliance management directly. Why D is wrong? Business perspective aligns cloud strategies with organizational goals instead of compliance and security governance controls. Question 456. A company wants to ensure workloads remain secure, resilient, and protected against unauthorized access. Which AWS Cloud Adoption Framework perspective should be used? A. Governance perspective. B. Operations perspective. C. Security perspective. D. Platform perspective. Correct answer C. Security perspective. Why correct? Security perspective focuses on identity management, protection mechanisms, compliance, and securing cloud environments comprehensively. Why A is wrong? Governance perspective oversees policies and financial controls rather than implementing technical security protections directly. Why B is wrong? Operations perspective manages operational processes instead of cybersecurity risk reduction and workload protection strategies. Why D is wrong? Platform perspective designs infrastructure but does not specifically govern organizational security responsibilities comprehensively. Question 457. A company wants to align cloud investments with measurable business value and customer outcomes. Choose 2. A. Business perspective. B. Governance perspective. C. Platform perspective. D. Operations perspective. Correct answers A and B. Why correct? Business perspective ensures cloud initiatives support measurable business outcomes and competitive advantages strategically. Governance perspective manages financial accountability, budgeting, and value realization for cloud investments effectively. Why C is wrong? Platform perspective focuses on infrastructure engineering instead of business value alignment or investment management. Why D is wrong? Operations perspective handles operational execution rather than business strategy and financial optimization planning. Question 458. A company wants to automate deployment pipelines and standardize cloud infrastructure environments. Which AWS Cloud Adoption Framework perspective should be used? A. Operations perspective. B. Platform perspective. C. Security perspective. D. People perspective. Correct answer, B. Platform perspective. Why correct? Platform perspective manages infrastructure engineering, automation, deployment pipelines, and standardized cloud environments efficiently. Why A is wrong? Operations perspective focuses on operational maintenance rather than infrastructure automation and engineering architecture directly. Why C is wrong? Security perspective protects workloads instead of automating infrastructure deployment and engineering processes. Why D is wrong? People perspective develops workforce readiness and organizational transformation rather than technical platform automation. Question 459. A company wants to improve operational excellence using monitoring, incident management, and automated remediation. Choose two. A. Operations perspective. B. Platform perspective. C. Business perspective. D. Security perspective. Correct answers are A and B. Why correct? Operations perspective focuses on operational excellence, monitoring, and incident management across cloud environments continuously. Platform perspective provides the engineering foundation and automation capabilities supporting operational consistency and remediation. Why C is wrong? Business perspective aligns cloud adoption with business goals instead of technical operational improvement activities. Why D is wrong? Security perspective focuses primarily on cybersecurity risks rather than overall operational excellence processes organization-wide. Question 460. A company wants to develop cloud training programs and improve organizational change management capabilities. Which AWS Cloud Adoption Framework perspective should be used? A. Governance perspective. B. Security perspective. C. Platform perspective. D. People perspective. Correct answer is D. People perspective. Why correct? People perspective focuses on workforce transformation, cloud skills development, organizational readiness, and training strategies successfully. Why A is wrong? Governance perspective manages compliance and financial oversight rather than workforce transformation or employee enablement and organizational change. Why B is wrong? Security perspective protects workloads instead of improving organizational readiness and cloud training programs. Why C is wrong? Platform perspective designs technical cloud environments rather than managing employee enablement and organizational change. Question 461. A company wants to process streaming clickstream data in real time and perform analytics continuously. Choose two. A. Amazon Kinesis data streams. B. Amazon Managed Service for Apache Flink. C. AWS Data Pipeline. D. Amazon WorkDocs. Correct answers are A and B. Why correct? Kinesis Data Streams ingests massive amounts of streaming data with low latency and high scalability reliably. Managed Service for Apache Flink processes streaming data continuously for real-time analytics and event processing workloads. Why C is wrong? Data Pipeline orchestrates scheduled batch workflows rather than continuous low-latency streaming analytics processing. Why D is wrong? WorkDocs provides collaboration and document sharing functionality instead of real-time streaming analytics capabilities. Question 462. A company wants to share third-party datasets securely through subscriptions and data products. Which AWS service should be used? A. AWS Cleanrooms. B. AWS Data Exchange. C. Amazon Athena. D. Amazon EMR. Correct answer is B, AWS Data Exchange. Why correct? Data exchange enables organizations to publish, subscribe to, and securely share third-party datasets efficiently. Why A is wrong? Clean Rooms enables collaborative analytics without exposing raw datasets rather than marketplace-style subscriptions. Why C is wrong? Athena queries datasets stored in S3 but does not distribute commercial data subscriptions. Why D is wrong? EMR processes large datasets but does not provide data exchange marketplace capabilities. Question 463. A company wants to build event-driven applications and route events between AWS services and SaaS applications. Choose two. A. Amazon Event Bridge. B. AWS Step Functions. C. Amazon Chime SDK. D. AWS App Fabric. Correct answers are A and D. Why correct? Event Bridge routes events between AWS services, applications, and SaaS integrations using event-driven architecture patterns. App Fabric connects SaaS applications and normalizes events for centralized integration and visibility across systems. Why B is wrong? Step Functions orchestrates workflows rather than acting as an event routing bus between services directly. Why C is wrong? Amazon Chime SDK enables communication applications rather than event-driven integration architectures or SaaS event routing. Question 464. A company wants to migrate physical and virtual servers into AWS with minimal downtime. Which AWS service should be used? A. AWS Application Discovery Service. B. AWS Database Migration Service. C. AWS Mainframe Modernization Service. D. AWS Application Migration Service. Correct answer is D. AWS Application Migration Service. Why correct? Application Migration Service continuously replicates servers and simplifies lift and shift migrations into AWS environments efficiently. Why A is wrong? Application Discovery Service collects migration assessment data but does not migrate workloads directly. Why B is wrong? Database Migration Service specifically migrates databases rather than full server environments and applications. Why C is wrong? Mainframe Modernization focuses on legacy mainframe systems rather than general server migration activities. Question 465. A company wants to catalog datasets, enforce permissions, and simplify building a secure data lake. Choose two. A. AWS Glue. B. AWS Lake Formation. C. Amazon Workmail. D. Amazon Cloud Search. Correct answers are A and B. Why correct? Glue provides metadata cataloging and ETL functionality for analytics and data lake environments efficiently. Lake Formation simplifies secure data lake setup, governance, and fine-grained access control management centrally. Why C is wrong? Workmail provides managed email services and is unrelated to analytics or data lake governance. Why D is wrong? Cloud Search powers search functionality rather than secure data lake cataloging or permissions management. Question 466. A company wants to analyze business data and create interactive dashboards for executives. Which AWS service should be used? A. Amazon EMR. B. Amazon QuickSight. C. Amazon Redshift. D. AWS Glue. Correct answer is B. Amazon QuickSight. Why correct? QuickSight provides interactive dashboards, business intelligence analytics, and visualization capabilities for decision makers efficiently. Why A is wrong? EMR processes big data workloads but does not primarily provide executive visualization dashboards. Why C is wrong? Redshift stores analytical datasets but requires another tool for dashboard visualization and BI reporting. Why D is wrong? Glue prepares and transforms data rather than building dashboards and interactive visual analytics. Question 467. A company wants to build IoT applications that securely connect and manage millions of devices. Choose two. A. AWS IoT Core. B. AWS IoT Device Management. C. Amazon Chime. D. AWS App Sync. Correct answers A and B. Why correct? IoT Core securely connects devices and manages message communication between devices and AWS infrastructure. IoT Device Management organizes, monitors, and remotely manages large fleets of IoT devices efficiently. Why C is wrong. Chime provides communication and meeting functionality rather than IoT device connectivity and management capabilities. Why D is wrong. AppSync builds GraphQL APIs instead of securely managing IoT device fleets and communication infrastructure. Question 468. A company wants ultra-low latency applications for mobile users using telecom provider networks. Which AWS service should be used? A. AWS Outposts, B. AWS Wavelength, C. VMware Cloud on AWS, D. Location Service. Correct answer, B. AWS Wavelength. Why correct? Wavelength places AWS services inside telecom networks to reduce latency for mobile and edge applications dramatically. Why A is wrong. Outposts deploys AWS infrastructure on premises rather than inside telecom provider edge networks. Why C is wrong. VMware Cloud on AWS runs VMware workloads and does not optimize telecom edge latency applications. Why D is wrong. Location Service provides mapping and geolocation functionality rather than telecom edge computing infrastructure. Question 469. A company wants to orchestrate ETL workflows and schedule complex data processing pipelines. Choose two. A. AWS Step Functions. B. Amazon Managed Workflows for Apache Airflow, MWAA. C. Amazon WorkDocs. D. Amazon Chime SDK. Correct answers are A and B. Step Functions coordinates distributed workflows and integrates data processing services reliably across AWS environments. MWAA provides managed Apache Airflow orchestration for scheduling and automating complex ETL pipelines efficiently. Why C is wrong. WorkDocs provides collaboration functionality instead of workflow orchestration or ETL pipeline scheduling capabilities. Why D is wrong. Chime SDK enables communication applications and not orchestration of data processing pipelines or workflows. Question 470. A company wants to search and analyze logs, metrics, and operational data in near real time. Which AWS service should be used? A. Amazon Athena. B. Amazon Cloud Search. C. Amazon OpenSearch Service. D. Amazon EMR. Correct answer is C. Amazon OpenSearch Service. OpenSearch Service provides powerful search, log analytics, visualization, and near real-time operational monitoring capabilities. Why A is wrong. Athena performs SQL analytics queries but is not optimized for near real-time operational search and analytics. Why B is wrong. Cloud Search powers application search rather than advanced operational analytics and log monitoring workloads. Why D is wrong. EMR processes big data workloads, but does not provide managed near real-time search and visualization features. Question 471. A company wants to avoid large upfront infrastructure investments and instead pay only for resources used. Choose two. Operational expenditure, OPEX, capital expenditure, CAPEX, pay-as-you-go pricing, fixed infrastructure costs. Correct answers are A and C. Why correct? Cloud computing allows organizations to replace upfront capital expenses with flexible operational spending models efficiently. Pay-as-you-go pricing ensures customers only pay for the resources and services they actually consume. Why B is wrong. CapEx requires large upfront infrastructure investments, which cloud computing helps reduce or eliminate significantly. Why D is wrong. Fixed infrastructure costs are common in traditional data centers rather than elastic cloud environments. Question 472. A company wants to scale resources automatically during traffic spikes and reduce resources afterward. Which cloud computing characteristic does this describe? A. Agility. B. Elasticity. C. Global reach. D. Fault tolerance. Correct answer is B. Elasticity. Why correct? Elasticity allows cloud resources to automatically scale up or down depending on changing workload demand. Why A is wrong. Agility refers to faster innovation and deployment rather than automatic scaling capabilities specifically. Why C is wrong.
Global reach focuses on worldwide infrastructure deployment instead of dynamic resource scaling behavior. Why D is wrong. Fault tolerance ensures availability during failures rather than scaling resources based on demand fluctuations. Question 473. A company wants to deploy applications in multiple countries quickly without building physical data centers. Choose 2. Global reach, economies of scale, high availability, rapid deployment. Correct answers A and D. Why correct? Global reach allows organizations to deploy workloads in multiple AWS regions worldwide efficiently and quickly. Rapid deployment enables fast provisioning of infrastructure without waiting for physical hardware procurement cycles. Why B is wrong. Economies of scale reduce costs but do not directly provide worldwide deployment capabilities. Why C is wrong. High availability improves uptime rather than enabling rapid global infrastructure expansion directly. Question 474. A company wants to experiment quickly with new applications without waiting weeks for infrastructure provisioning. Which cloud advantage does this represent? A. Fault tolerance. B. Durability. C. Agility. D. Data sovereignty. Correct answer C. Agility. Why correct? Cloud agility allows organizations to innovate, provision resources, and experiment rapidly with minimal delays. Why A is wrong. Fault tolerance ensures workloads continue operating during infrastructure failures rather than enabling rapid experimentation. Why B is wrong. Durability measures long-term data persistence instead of development and deployment speed improvements. Why D is wrong. Data sovereignty concerns geographic data control rather than operational flexibility and innovation speed. Question 475. Which characteristics are commonly associated with cloud computing environments? Choose 2. A. On-demand self-service. B. Elastic scaling. C. Fixed hardware capacity. D. Manual resource provisioning. Correct answers A and B. Why correct? Cloud environments provide on-demand self-service where users provision resources without human intervention easily. Elastic scaling dynamically adjusts resources according to workload demand and usage requirements automatically. Why C is wrong. Cloud computing avoids fixed hardware capacity limitations through scalable infrastructure and resource pooling techniques. Why D is wrong. Manual provisioning is minimized because cloud platforms automate infrastructure deployment and management operations extensively. Question 476. A company wants to reduce costs because AWS purchases hardware at massive global scale. Which cloud advantage does this represent? A. Elasticity. B. Economies of scale. C. High availability. D. Agility. Correct answer B. Economies of scale. Why correct? Large cloud providers reduce operational costs through massive infrastructure purchasing power and shared resource utilization. Why A is wrong. Elasticity describes scaling resources dynamically rather than reducing costs through infrastructure purchasing efficiency specifically. Why C is wrong. High availability focuses on uptime and resilience rather than reducing operational infrastructure expenses specifically. Why D is wrong. Agility enables rapid innovation rather than lowering costs through shared infrastructure economics specifically. Question 477. A company wants infrastructure resources available instantly whenever developers need them. Choose 2. A. Resource pooling. B. On-demand self-service. C. Hardware procurement delays. D. Broad network access. Correct answers B and D. Why correct? On-demand self-service enables developers to provision cloud resources instantly without administrative delays or approvals. Broad network access allows resources to be accessible securely from various devices and locations globally. Why A is wrong. Resource pooling improves infrastructure efficiency but does not directly describe instant developer provisioning access. Why C is wrong. Cloud computing reduces hardware procurement delays through instantly available virtualized infrastructure resources. Question 478. A company wants systems that continue operating even when hardware failures occur. Which cloud advantage does this describe? A. Durability. B. Agility.
C. Fault tolerance, D. Elasticity. Correct answer C. Fault tolerance. Why correct? Fault tolerance enables systems to continue functioning properly even when infrastructure components fail unexpectedly. Why A is wrong? Durability measures long-term data persistence instead of application continuity during infrastructure failures or outages. Why B is wrong? Agility improves development speed rather than system resilience against hardware failures or outages. Why D is wrong? Elasticity scales resources dynamically but does not guarantee continued operation during failures automatically. Question 479. Which cloud computing benefits help organizations innovate faster and reduce operational complexity? Choose 2. A. Managed services. B. Rapid provisioning. C. Manual infrastructure maintenance. D. Long procurement cycles. Correct answers A and B. Why correct? Managed services reduce operational burden by handling maintenance, updates, and infrastructure management responsibilities automatically. Rapid provisioning allows developers and teams to deploy environments and applications much faster than traditional infrastructure. Why C is wrong? Cloud computing reduces manual infrastructure maintenance through automation and managed service capabilities extensively. Why D is wrong? Cloud platforms eliminate long procurement cycles by providing instantly available infrastructure resources globally. Question 480. A company wants data stored redundantly across multiple facilities for long-term reliability. Which cloud characteristic describes this? A. Elasticity. B. Agility. C. Broad network access. D. Durability. Correct answer D. Durability. Why correct? Durability ensures data remains protected and persistently stored across multiple redundant infrastructure components reliably. Why A is wrong? Elasticity scales infrastructure dynamically rather than protecting stored data against permanent loss scenarios. Why B is wrong? Agility focuses on faster deployment and innovation rather than resilient long-term data persistence guarantees. Why C is wrong? Broad network access ensures accessibility and connectivity rather than redundant long-term data storage protection. Question 481. A company wants to integrate SaaS applications with AWS services without writing custom integration code. Choose 2. A. Amazon AppFlow. B. AWS App Fabric. C. Amazon EMR. D. Amazon Cloud Search. Correct answers are A and B. Why correct? AppFlow securely transfers data between SaaS applications and AWS services without requiring custom development effort. AWS App Fabric connects SaaS applications together and normalizes data for centralized visibility and integration workflows efficiently. Why C is wrong? EMR processes big data analytics workloads rather than integrating SaaS platforms and cloud applications together. Why D is wrong? Cloud Search provides managed search capabilities instead of SaaS application integration and workflow automation functionality. Question 482. A company wants to create low-code GraphQL APIs that synchronize data between mobile applications and back-end systems. Which AWS service should be used? A. Amazon EventBridge. B. AWS AppSync. C. Amazon Chime CDK. D. AWS IoT Analytics. Correct answer is B. AWS AppSync. Why correct? AppSync provides managed GraphQL APIs with real-time synchronization and offline support for modern applications efficiently. Why A is wrong? EventBridge routes events between services rather than building GraphQL APIs for application synchronization purposes. Why C is wrong? Chime CDK enables communication features like meetings and messaging rather than GraphQL application APIs. Why D is wrong? IoT Analytics processes IoT sensor data instead of building application APIs and synchronization capabilities. Question 483. A company wants to monitor IoT devices for unusual behavior and security vulnerabilities. Choose 2. A.
AWS IoT Device Defender, B. AWS IoT Device Management, C. AWS IoT Button, D. AWS IoT Express Link. Correct answers are A and B. Why correct? IoT Device Defender audits device configurations and monitors security metrics for abnormal IoT device behavior continuously. IoT Device Management organizes, updates, and remotely manages fleets of connected IoT devices efficiently. Why C is wrong? IoT Button is a programmable physical button and not a device security monitoring service. Why D is wrong? IoT Express Link simplifies hardware connectivity but does not monitor device security or vulnerabilities actively. Question 484. A company wants to create interactive live video streaming applications for viewers globally. Which AWS service should be used? A. Amazon Elastic Transcoder, B. AWS Elemental Media Convert, C. Amazon Interactive Video Service, D. AWS Elemental Media Store. Correct answer is C. Amazon Interactive Video Service. Why correct? Interactive Video Service provides managed low-latency live video streaming designed for interactive audience engagement experiences globally. Why A is wrong? Elastic Transcoder converts media formats rather than providing interactive live streaming infrastructure services. Why B is wrong? Media Convert processes on-demand video transformations instead of real-time live interactive streaming delivery. Why D is wrong? Media Store optimizes media storage and delivery but does not provide full live streaming capabilities. Question 485. A company wants to automate infrastructure management tasks such as patching and operational maintenance. Choose 2. AWS Systems Manager, B. AWS Trusted Advisor, C. Amazon Chime, D. Amazon Workmail. Correct answers are A and B. Why correct? Systems Manager automates patching, operational tasks, configuration management, and infrastructure maintenance activities efficiently. Trusted Advisor provides recommendations for cost optimization, performance, security, and operational best practices continuously. Why C is wrong? Chime provides communication services rather than operational automation or infrastructure maintenance functionality. Why D is wrong? Workmail delivers managed email services and does not automate operational cloud management activities. Question 486. A company wants to migrate and modernize legacy mainframe applications into AWS. Which AWS service should be used? A. AWS Mainframe Modernization Service, B. AWS Application Discovery Service, C. AWS App to Container, D. Amazon EMR. Correct answer is A. AWS Mainframe Modernization Service. Why correct? Mainframe Modernization Service helps migrate and modernize legacy mainframe applications into AWS cloud environments effectively. Why B is wrong? Application Discovery Service assesses environments but does not modernize mainframe applications directly. Why C is wrong? App to Container containerizes traditional applications rather than specifically modernizing mainframe workloads and architectures. Why D is wrong? EMR processes analytics workloads instead of modernizing legacy enterprise mainframe systems or applications. Question 487. A company wants to process and analyze industrial IoT data from manufacturing equipment. Choose 2. A. AWS IoT Sitewise, B. AWS IoT Analytics, C. Amazon WorkDocs, D. AWS Device Farm. Correct answers A and B. Why correct? AWS IoT Sitewise collects and models industrial equipment data for operational analytics and monitoring efficiently. AWS IoT Analytics processes and analyzes IoT-generated datasets for business insights and predictive intelligence capabilities. Why C is wrong?
Workdocs provides document collaboration and not industrial IoT analytics or manufacturing telemetry processing functionality. Why D is wrong. Device Farm tests mobile applications on real devices rather than analyzing industrial IoT sensor data. Question 488. A company wants to test mobile applications across many real smartphones and tablets automatically. Which AWS service should be used? A. Amazon Pinpoint, B. AWS Device Farm, C. Amazon Chime SDK, D. AWS App Fabric. Correct answer B. Device Farm. Why correct? Device Farm enables automated testing of mobile applications across many real devices and operating systems. Why A is wrong? Pinpoint manages customer engagement campaigns rather than mobile application testing and device validation workflows. Why C is wrong? Chime SDK provides communication capabilities instead of automated mobile application testing environments. Why D is wrong? App Fabric integrates SaaS applications rather than providing real device mobile testing capabilities. Question 489. A company wants to stream media content reliably between live video production systems. Choose two. A. AWS Elemental Media Connect, B. AWS Elemental Media Live, C. Amazon Workmail, D. AWS IoT Core. Correct answers are A and B. Why correct? Media Connect securely transports live video streams between production systems and broadcasting workflows reliably worldwide. Media Live encodes live video streams for broadcast and streaming delivery efficiently at large scale. Why C is wrong? Workmail provides managed email services and is unrelated to live media broadcasting workflows or video streaming. Why D is wrong? IoT Core connects IoT devices and does not process professional live media transport or encoding workloads. Question 490. A company wants recommendations for improving security, cost optimization, reliability, and operational excellence in AWS. Which AWS service should be used? A. AWS Service Catalog, B. AWS User Notifications, C. AWS Well-Architected Tool, D. Amazon QuickSight. Correct answer is C. AWS Well-Architected Tool. Why correct? Well-Architected Tool reviews workloads against AWS best practices across multiple architectural pillars comprehensively. Why A is wrong? Service Catalog manages approved infrastructure products rather than evaluating architectural best practices and recommendations. Why B is wrong? User Notification sends alerts and updates instead of analyzing workload architectural quality or operational risks. Why D is wrong? QuickSight provides analytics dashboards and not workload architectural reviews or cloud best practice recommendations. Question 491. A company wants to create workflows that coordinate multiple AWS services and application steps automatically. Choose two. A. AWS Step Functions, B. Amazon Event Bridge, C. Amazon Workdocs, D. AWS Data Exchange. Correct answers are A and B. Why correct? Step Functions coordinates distributed application workflows and manages task sequencing reliably across AWS services. Event Bridge enables event-driven integrations and routes events between applications, SaaS platforms, and AWS services dynamically. Why C is wrong? Workdocs provides collaboration and document management rather than workflow orchestration or event routing capabilities. Why D is wrong? Data Exchange distributes datasets securely instead of coordinating workflows or application event processing logic. Question 492. A company wants to ingest, transform, and deliver streaming data into Amazon S3 and analytics destinations automatically. Which AWS service should be used? A. Amazon Kinesis Video Streams, B. Amazon Data Firehose, C. Amazon EMR, D. AWS Glue. Correct answer is B. Amazon Data Firehose. Why correct? Data Firehose captures, transforms, and delivers streaming data automatically into AWS analytics and storage services. Why A is wrong? Kinesis Video Streams handles media and video ingestion rather than general-purpose streaming data delivery pipelines. Why C is wrong? EMR processes large analytics workloads but does not continuously deliver real-time streaming ingestion and delivery pipelines. Why D is wrong? Glue performs ETL operations rather than managed real-time streaming ingestion and delivery pipelines. Question 493. A company wants to build secure collaborative analytics environments without exposing raw sensitive datasets. Choose two. A. AWS Cleanrooms. B. AWS Entity Resolution. C. Amazon Workmail. D. Amazon Chime SDK. Correct answers A and B. Cleanrooms enables collaborative analytics while protecting sensitive underlying datasets and privacy requirements carefully. Entity resolution helps organizations match and reconcile records securely across different data sources accurately. Why C is wrong. Workmail provides managed email functionality rather than collaborative secure analytics environments or dataset protection. Why D is wrong. Chime SDK supports communication applications and not secure collaborative analytics capabilities or entity matching. Question 494. A company wants to create hybrid cloud environments with AWS infrastructure running inside customer data centers. Which AWS service should be used? A. AWS Wavelength. B. VMware Cloud on AWS. C. AWS App to Container. D. AWS Outposts. Correct answer D. AWS Outposts. Outposts extends AWS infrastructure and services directly into customer on-premises environments consistently and securely. Why A is wrong. Wavelength provides low-latency edge computing infrastructure inside telecom provider networks instead of customer facilities. Why B is wrong. VMware Cloud on AWS runs VMware workloads in AWS Cloud rather than deploying AWS hardware on premises. Why C is wrong. App to Container modernizes applications into containers instead of deploying hybrid cloud infrastructure hardware locally. Question 495. A company wants to manage approved infrastructure templates and standardized resource deployments across teams. Choose two. A. AWS Service Catalog. B. AWS Infrastructure Composer. C. Amazon Workdocs. D. AWS User Notifications. Correct answers are A and B. Why correct? Service Catalog centrally manages approved cloud products and standardized deployment templates across organizations efficiently. Infrastructure Composer visually designs and models AWS infrastructure architectures for easier deployment planning and management. Why C is wrong. Workdocs provides document collaboration rather than standardized infrastructure governance or deployment template management. Why D is wrong. User Notifications sends operational alerts and does not standardize infrastructure deployment configurations centrally. Question 496. A company wants to build geolocation-enabled applications with maps, routing, and tracking features. Which AWS service should be used? A. AWS IoT TwinMaker. B. Amazon Location Service. C. Amazon OpenSearch Serverless. D. Amazon Chime SDK. Correct answer is B. Amazon Location Service. Why correct? Location Service provides mapping, geolocation, routing, geofencing, and tracking capabilities for modern applications efficiently. Why A is wrong. IoT TwinMaker builds digital twins for industrial systems rather than geospatial application mapping functionality. Why C is wrong. Amazon OpenSearch Serverless provides search analytics and not location-based services or geographic visualization features. Why D is wrong. Chime SDK supports communication applications instead of geospatial tracking or routing functionality. Question 497. A company wants to monitor and manage large fleets of IoT devices securely. Choose two. A. AWS IoT Device Management. B. AWS IoT Device Defender. C. Amazon Chime. D. Amazon Elemental Media Live. Correct answers are A and B. Why correct? IoT Device Management organizes, updates, and remotely controls connected IoT device fleets efficiently at scale. IoT Device Defender audits device configurations and monitors abnormal behavior for security vulnerabilities continuously. Why C is wrong. Chime provides communication and collaboration services rather than IoT device fleet monitoring capabilities. Why D is wrong. Media Live encodes live video streams and is unrelated to IoT device management or security operations. Question 498. A company wants to analyze operational logs and search application metrics without managing clusters manually. Which AWS service should be used? A. Amazon Cloud Search. B. Amazon Athena. C. Amazon OpenSearch Serverless. D. Amazon EMR. Correct answer is C. Amazon OpenSearch Serverless. Why correct? OpenSearch Serverless provides scalable search and analytics capabilities without requiring infrastructure or cluster administration tasks. Why A is wrong? Cloud Search powers application search rather than operational analytics and log monitoring use cases extensively. Why B is wrong? Athena queries datasets in S3 but is not optimized for near real-time operational search analytics. Why D is wrong? EMR requires cluster management and focuses on distributed analytics rather than serverless search operations.
Question 499. A company wants to send targeted marketing notifications and customer engagement campaigns. Choose two. A. Amazon Pinpoint. B. Amazon AppFlow. C. Amazon Chime SDK. D. AWS App Fabric. Correct answers are A and D. Why correct? Pinpoint manages customer engagement campaigns using SMS, email, push notifications, and targeted messaging capabilities effectively. App Fabric integrates SaaS applications and centralizes event visibility, supporting coordinated customer engagement workflows efficiently. Why B is wrong? AppFlow transfers SaaS application data rather than directly managing customer marketing engagement campaigns. Why C is wrong? Chime SDK builds communication applications instead of orchestrating targeted marketing notifications and campaigns. Question 500. A company wants architectural guidance and recommendations aligned with AWS best practices across reliability, security, and cost optimization. Which AWS service should be used? A. AWS Trusted Advisor. B. AWS Service Catalog. C. Amazon QuickSight. D. AWS Well-Architected Tool. Correct answer, D. AWS Well-Architected Tool. Why correct? Well-Architected Tool evaluates workloads against AWS architectural best practices and improvement recommendations comprehensively. Why A is wrong? Trusted Advisor provides checks and recommendations but does not perform structured architecture reviews across pillars fully. Why B is wrong? Service Catalog manages approved deployment templates rather than reviewing workload architecture against best practices. Why C is wrong? QuickSight provides business intelligence dashboards and not architectural analysis or workload review capabilities.
Congratulations! You've officially completed the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner CLF-C02 500 Questions series. Thank you for being part of this 500-question journey. Good luck with your AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner exam and keep building in the cloud.